Get your tickets now for the 23rd annual edition of the OUTshine LGBTQ Plus Film Festival happening April 23rd to May 2nd. Don't miss our incredible grand opening drive-in event followed by 10 days of non-stop films from here and all around the world that you can watch at home. Watch trailers and get your tickets at OUTshineFilm.com now.
All right, great. I see we're live. I'm just going to give it 1 second to make sure the recording is clicking in. Okay, I'm going to assume we're good to go. All right, everyone. Well, my name is Chris Bastine, and welcome to the 23rd Miami edition of the OUTshine LGBTQ Plus Film Festival. Special thanks to our presenting sponsors, Gilead, as well as Miami-Dade County, to our wonderful members, our producer circle members. We really couldn't do this without you. So we're so appreciative of you and for your enthusiasm for our films and our programming. I'd also encourage you, those of you who are not members, to please consider joining. We're a great organization, and you get so many benefits, and as well as you get to support this really wonderful cause and see some really fantastic films, as the one we're about to discuss shortly. Lastly, make sure to check out OUTshineFilm.com for a complete listing of films. Again, we've got a great week of programming, so please make sure to take full enjoyment and advantage of all that there. And without further ado, I would love to go ahead and announce the film we'll be talking about today, Poppyfield, as well as we're very lucky to have the director, Eugene Jubalin is here. So Eugene, if you can join, please.
Yes, hello everybody, and nice to see you and to be in this festival with Poppyfield. It's a great pleasure, and I'm very happy.
Great. We're so happy to have you. Do you mind telling us, just so our audience knows, where are you calling us in from today?
Where I am now?
Yes.
Yeah, so now I am in Paris, because actually I live in Paris and I'm working between France and Romania. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, it's 6 p.m. right now here. And yeah, it's far from you. I would have loved to be there.
Yeah.
And to discover also this wonderful city and this festival, because I have never been there. Okay. But the film is there, and it is the main thing and the more important for now.
Good. Well, this period. I don't know how to say it in Romanian, but in French, we'll say for la prochaine fois, on espère.
Okay. Mais bien sûr, oui, avec grand plaisir, oui.
Great. So maybe. I think just telling a little bit about your location, your background, you can start to sense maybe some of the inspiration for the film. But maybe you can just kind of talk us through, from beginning, what was the inspiration for the film, some of the ideas, and how did the whole project come about?
Yes, so this film came to me quite surprising, because I was doing theater, in fact, for many years in Romania and in France, and one day I have received a phone call from Velvet Moraru, the producer of the film, who asked me to read a screenplay and if I'm interested into directing it and to making a film. And I said that I have never done this before, so even not a short one. And she said that she's confident because she knows my work in theater and the fact that I'm an artist that works with LGBT subjects, and I am also a gay director and human being assumed in Romania. And I think that was also something that she liked somehow into this idea of inviting me into this project. And after I have read the screenplay of Ioana Moraru, I said yes, because I'm interested in these subjects, as in these topics, and I think it's important in Romania to tell these stories of LGBT people, as everywhere in the world. But I think in Romania we still have a lot of work into LGBT rights, and so even I was afraid of making it. I said that I want to, and I think I already I have wanted it before to make cinema, so it was the good occasion also for me to start to do it. And well, the script is inspired by a real event that has happened in 2013. Firstly, in Bucharest, in a cinema hall, where a projection of an LGBT film, in fact, was "The Kids Are All Right" at that moment, was interrupted by a group of religious people that were against this kind of projections. And it was in fact in an LGBT festival. It was much more little than yours, but some days for LGBT films in Bucharest. And so from that moment, other events like this has happened in Bucharest, even in 2018 with the film 120 BPM, if you know it, and well, another Romanian film. And Ioana, the screenwriter, wanted to tell the story of someone who intervened into this kind of event and to make a fiction, in fact, of a man that is gay and is also a policeman, a gendarme, and has to be there for stopping this conflict between the spectators and the people that were interrupting the film. And so our film, Poppyfield, is telling this story of this young homosexual gendarme who has to deal between his personal secret life as a gay person in Romania nowadays and his professional life as a gendarme in this macho society. And also somehow it's telling something about the police justice, or let's say also violences, that I think you're not so far from this topic. And yeah, that was my inspiration. That was the beginning of the story, because it's coming from real things. And I think it was important to make it in cinema, because cinema has these tools, more pragmatic, more concrete than theater has. And well, I am glad to know that stories like this are going so far as in your festival, and even more in this kind of festivals that are interested into LGBT topics and fighting for rights.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's great. What is can you tell us a little bit about like what's the climate like in Romania for actual like LGBTQ plus rights? I mean, can you kind of walk us through sort of what that's like?
Yes, well, it's not today. It's not, how to say, it's not penalized anymore, because it was the case until 2000.
Right, you can't go. It's not criminalized. You can't go to, I guess, prison or.
Yeah, it's not anymore. Yeah, but until 2001, it was still uh, prison. You made prison for, and so but there is no rights for gay people. So as a couple, you cannot marry, you cannot have children. So it's still very very bad as a situation, I would say. But yeah, step by step it's changing, and I think in education it starts to speak about, but it's already it's still a taboo subject. So it's not something that it's very popular into what politicians and also people that are in education are speaking a lot. So it's a situation, I would say, less good than in other countries in Europe, but not that bad that in, I don't know, Russia or something, because we don't have so many homophobical stories, or at least we don't know about them. And I think that's why I'm saying it's taboo. It's something that it's a bit invisible yet. And so it's, even our film, it's one of the first ones that are talking about this subject. So yeah, it's quite a lot of work to do.
Yeah, no, for sure, for sure.
There is a
Yeah,
pride, there is a pride, and that it's growing year after year, but well, not that fast that we
yeah,
would.
no, I see it. Yeah, I mean, you can't be in prison, but it's also still very much, like you said, like taboo or marginalized people, with not a whole lot of structure or rights from like the government to protect them.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah. Can you, so I watched the film twice, and yeah, great, really, really wonderful film. And the second, I think that sometimes you have to watch the second time to really understand, I guess, the kind of the struggle, really, that the main character Christy is going through, the whole kind of, because all the other characters, even like when you see the beginning of the film, you think it's going to be about the romance with I guess with Hadi, but the truth is Hadi actually is a very small part in the film. It's more about his own personal kind of struggle. And one thing I think for us, especially as American, I mean, there's a huge theme of policing and like the role of police. And so for me, my struggle honestly was on one hand, you kind of want to sympathize with Chris. I mean, it's painful because you're like, man, like just be yourself. But you see his personal struggle, but then you also see some of how his I don't want to give away too much of the plot, but you see some of his sort of poor behavior in the terms of like a law enforcement. And it's a theme, just coming in the US. It's obviously very, very prevalent. Even like this past week, the news of events have been coming out about sort of police brutality and accountability, keeping police, accountable for their jobs and their powers. I don't know, was that something you had intended to explore, or is that something that kind of came out sort of organically through the process?
Yeah, I think everything came organically, but even though we have searched, so I'm searching into my work not to put characters into bad or good characters. So I'm trying all the time to work with the actors in the idea of making someone human and someone that is in the same time a victim, and at the same time it's someone who's making bad to someone. So I think to let this vulnerability and the diversity of someone to come out. So that was something that we wanted, and we didn't want it to make a critic. How to say? But we didn't want it to give solutions. So I didn't want it to come with some kind of answers of how it's good to do and how it's not good to do, but more to put. Yeah, as classical thing, as a mirror of the society of nowadays, Romania. So, and this kind of police violence has also happened in Romania, in Bucharest, because there were a lot of protests these last years. And yeah, it was something that I wanted to be in this character with Ioana Moraro, the script writer. Also, we wanted to make from this character someone who is how to say, that we could be in empathy, but we can also judge for
Mm-hmm.
his action.
Yeah.
So it's not something that we have to see as yeah, this poor guy that is living his life so bad. So I think his choices are also how to say, symptomatic about someone's living and way of living. And I think it's something that a lot of people are living in Romania
Mm-hmm.
with
Mm-hmm.
this struggle, and they are not just into one category of, as I said, good or bad person.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, you have to, and I think the film does that. It does a nice shape of showing the journey. So even like after, there's this whole scene, sort of an eruption, you see definitely like the police kind of cover up to try to make the situation, in a way to protect Christie from the repercussions. But then afterwards, you see this kind of him just kind of going back to his like kind of normal life, which just has a phone call with Hattie, and just is
Yeah.
there's definitely some complexity there. Can you tell us a little bit about like the actual shooting of the film? Was it all filmed in in Romania, or where was like in the different locations?
Yes, yeah, everything was filmed in Romania, in Bucharest, and for example, Adi, the character Radwan Leflai, the actor Radwan Leflai that is playing the character Hadi, it's a French Moroccan actor that I
Hmm.
work with in my company, in my French company of theater. And yeah, I wanted him in this film because I really like this actor and his energy. And I think it's bringing also something close to my story because I'm living in Paris with a French guy from 2010 now. And I
Wow.
think something was very close to my way of living and the way I have felt when I have left from Romania, because there are two completely different way of seeing things in this topic of being gay, and everything was shoot there. We have had not a lot of days of shooting, but that it was because we have rehearsed a lot before. Because as I said 3 times now, coming from theater, I wanted to rehearse and to be how to say, that far from my way of working in
Hmm.
theater, and I
Hmm.
had this very good crew that was around me, and especially Marius Panduro, the DOP of the film, that has a lot of experience in cinema, and he was very helpful, and we had a very good dialogue into making all these shoots and all the images of the film. And yeah, together we have chosen to make it on 16 millimeters film because we have found that it's giving something much more deeper into the image and more contrasting with the colors and
Hmm.
the way of having this impression of touching the face of Christy, of Conrad, the actor, because it's a lot with this very close up shots. And yeah, we have done also these long sequences because I wanted to have this real time conflict as it's coming from something that has happened for real, to have this dimension a bit of like a documentary, like something that it's happening in front of us, and the spectator is like a witness of all this story and this struggle and this portrait of this day. And yeah, it was very short. In fact, we have shot it in 16 days,
Hmm.
and we were very how to say yeah, we have worked a lot all these days, and
Yeah,
even
it's
before we have
intense.
prepared everything very
Hmm.
good. And well, I'm very thankful to have had a very good team of from production and
Hmm.
after also to the post production. I mean, for a debut feature, I think I had really a very good opportunity to have with me this crew.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, no, terrific. Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I think it's I'm not a film. I was in a filmmaker, but I could see there's different contrasts with colors. Like for the beginning part, it's very kind of bluish when he's in the apartment together. When he's traveling, he has almost kind of like this green aspect. And then, but then I just the kind of the contrast between like the audience out in the hallways, like kind of
Yeah,
fighting. But then I was just really struck by all those scenes of him just kind of walking by himself in the empty theater, the red seats and
yes.
and then even some of the shots, like taken from above. I mean, it just I know you're trying to communicate something there, but I mean, it's really, I thought it was just the difference in color and contrast, which you can
Mm.
see was very well thought out.
Yeah, everything it was in fact about this kind of how to say uh, huis clos. I don't
Wait,
know how to translate it from French, but
what
yeah,
was the word
something
again?
that is struggling him, and everything it's
Oh yeah. Hmm. Hmm.
about him being there alone with his fears, with his violences, with his all the issues, and yeah, we wanted to be very focused on what this guy is feeling,
Yeah. Yeah, this
having.
may be a silly or basic question. Is there a difference between the police and the gendarme? Because I feel like they were referring to when like the woman wasn't actually from the police department
Yes.
or the gendarme. Is there a difference between those two?
Yeah, exactly. So the police, it's in the statue bigger than gendarmerie in Romania. So it's the police. It's making, in fact, all the justice is someone that is from the justice department of Romania, and so the gendarmerie. It came there, for example, to clear the situation with the people.
Yeah.
So it's more to intervene into helping the police to make the
Got it.
the intervention. So it's somehow into a hierarchically way. It's secondly the gendarmerie.
Got it. Anything? I mean, there's so much to take away from the film, but obviously, as the director, is there is there anything in particular, maybe that we haven't already talked about that you would want to make sure that our audience knows about Poppy Field and that they really kind of like pay attention to, or any theme in particular you'd want them to take away from the film?
Yeah, well, I would say that for me it was important. I see a question there, but I haven't.
Oh, let me see.
I will say something about what you said. I think what is important for me, it was important not to make a film about a coming out or something that it's very easy into one day to change the life of someone, human being. So I think I wanted to, and I hope audience will feel that this story, it's about censorship somehow, and about also our inner censorship, and it's about our old fears of being who we are, and of living as we want to live, but we don't make it. So, and for me, it's a kind of manifest about we have to do also films about these characters. We have to answer to this kind of events, like has happened in Romania, that was interrupted. And my film, it's somehow an answer to all these people that are interrupting LGBT films, saying we have to continue to make, and we have to abuse about our freedom of expression, because there are not so many stories about these people, and this is, yeah, fortunately, not a good thing. And yeah, I think, as you said, it's a film about a lot of things, and in the same time very easy as a story. So I think everyone can take what he feels to take. So it's more about empathy with this kind of people, and how we deal with this kind of struggles. So has the film been seen in Romania, and what was the response? Someone society doesn't like to be seen as bad sometimes. It hasn't been seen in Romania yet, because we didn't have the premiere. Of course, it's also this pandemic situation, but we are still making the festival tour with the film, and I think this year, of course, hopefully somewhere in the middle, we'll have the premiere also of the film, and in Romania. And I'm very curious to know how the audience there will receive it, and how it will be. And well, if the film will be interrupted, like
I know, yeah,
that will be a situation quite interesting to see, that something that's happening in fiction, it's also in reality. But well, we will be there to talk with these people that are against, and making this film, as I said before, for me it's just one step into this work that we have to do for how to say, promoting and fighting for LGBT rights.
Right, great. Any new projects or anything that you can talk about, like what's next for you or for the film?
Yeah. So for the film, the life is just beginning. So we have had the premiere, the world premiere in Tallinn, in the Night Film Festival in Tallinn, in Estonia,
Mm-hmm.
and another two festivals in November in Italy and in Spain, where Konrad Melkov,
Yeah.
the main actor, has won the prize for the best actor, and so
Right.
I'm glad to have all these feedbacks. And the film is, it continues to go in other festivals, and I'm really happy because with all this pandemic situation, I think it's a good situation. And so the film will make his life, and my new projects will still be into fighting for LGBT topics, as I said,
Yeah.
and also in theater and in cinema. And I'm kind of an artist that is trying not to be just in one closet like this, but
Yeah. For
to
sure.
discover himself into other dimensions also. And well, just to stay at the cinema world, so I will continue into making this, and with the same production house will make another film soon. So we hope so, if we'll have the possibilities, and if the situation will be hopefully good
Yeah.
for this. So yeah, I will have other portrait of of uh, of someone that it's in difficulty into his or hers the day by day life.
Right. No, for sure. And maybe just the last question before I'll let you close it. But I mean, what do you think? Something I've actually haven't asked this festival for us yet. But what do you think of the role of film festivals such as Outshine in sort of helping to into sort of the relationship between the film festival as well as the filmmaker and these actually wonderful independent films. Like, what do you think of the role of that? And also, even as we're now getting into year two of this sort of pandemic situation, what do you think how do you think those will continue to either help, hinder, or you know?
Yeah. Yeah, so it's for everybody. I think it's completely new, this way of making
Hmm.
things online, and not to have the possibility to really meet each other and with the audience. I don't know how it's happening, the restrictions there completely, but for example, here in Romania, France, they are very difficult restrictions, and
Hmm. Hmm.
it's all these questions of how to get to the audience still today with all this stuff. So I think we can continue to do our activities and to fight for. And your festival, it's something that shows that we are still making things for going close to the audience. And I think this is the main responsibility somehow
Hmm.
to continue, in fact, because it's hard to make art in this moment.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm working these days into something, writing like a thesis on constraint, yeah. And well, I think this is something that we have to deal with this pandemic times, into how to create new ways of meeting the audience, and to make social political projects, but something that it's speaking about nowadays. So I think yeah, how we can still be together. I think what we are doing now is something good. So just
Hmm.
talking and having a little exchange, and trying to see what is happening somewhere else that in our territory. I think it's a good step forward. So even for you there to see what's the situation in Romania and showing this to the audience, I think it's something that can move things, and in the same time bringing films and art other territories in Romania, like has happened with all this film that was interrupted, unfortunately. I think it was a good and big step for changing in the society all the mentality.
Yeah, great. No, and a case in point, yeah, for sure that, and also just the fact that we're able to connect for half an hour from literally across the world is, I think, is really an exciting part of this where we're in. So, Eugene, you've been really, really generous. So thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate you being here. And any final parting words for us you'd like to share, or?
Well, I would have loved to be there.
Yeah.
That's the most frustrating thing, and but in the same time, yeah, I just think that we, as I said, we have to continue to work and to do art for writing. I'm really glad to know that the film it's having this this opportunity to be in your festival, as it was in BFI, for example, in London, and I think it's important, BFI Flair, for having a lot of things for LGBT audience or about LGBT topics for all the audience that has to have access to these questions.
Right. No, so true, and thank you so much.
Thank you.
Everyone, again, this was Eugene Jubilin, who is the director of Poppyfield. If you haven't already seen it, please make sure you watch. And also just a special thanks again to all of you, our audience, who are watching this interview. Thank you to Joe Balancio, who's been running back of house, our brilliant programmer, our wonderful staff, our board. And we're going to watch a little clip of a trailer for Poppyfield, and hope to see you back at the movies. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Hello.
Hi. Hadi.
Catalina, nice to meet you.
Me too.
Christy told me about you.
Yeah.
Hi. Pas.
T'as pas besoin de te justifier.
Non. Non, pardon, nu mă justific.
Si, tu te justifies, là.
Ce orice ar fi, orice s-ar întâmpla, vii și îmi spui mie. Orice problemă ai, orice supărare, orice necaz.
Bismillah.
Sorry?
It means in the name of God.
Ați oprit proiecția unui film. Asta ați făcut. Ce trebuie?
Dar luați mâna asta de pe mine. De ce mă faceți pe mine? Eu vreau să vă
Nu mă mai știi? Că mă pleacă de aici.
Arrête, Christy, s'il te plaît. S'il te plaît. Depuis tout à l'heure, t'es chiant. Qu'est-ce qui t'arrive? Pourquoi t'es comme ça?
To be the boss.
Care mai aici, mă, pe aici? Păi cât te mai acoperim, mă, pe tine, a? Cât? Zi-mă, handicapatule, de câte ori te-am acoperit?
Tu nu înțelegi că dacă tu acum ieși afară, bubuie toată chestia asta și află toată lumea. Ce află toată lumea?